cutting-edge gambling platform to offer unique bets, several ways to play and win, and you can even use crypto to play. MyBookie offers a seamless platform for all your gambling needs, and MyBookie has you covered with a vast array of options. Explore their different markets and bet types. There's something for everyone. Discover MyBookie's special introductory offer by using North American Talk Radio's special promo code, which is 120Z Sports, all caps, no spaces, and you'll get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. MyBookie offers a thrilling experience, so sign up today and be sure to use the promo code 120Z Sports, all caps, no spaces, for huge cash bonuses. Get in the game and good luck.
Want tickets for less while helping grassroots radio? Well, at North American Talk Radio, we've partnered with a top ticketing platform to give our listeners the best prices to all the best events. Whether it's a concert, theater performance, or a sporting event, North American Talk Radio has you covered. Go to natalkradio.com or .us and click the Event Tickets tab on the menu. That's natalkradio.com or .us and click the Event Tickets tab on the menu. Watch all your favorite events in person. That's natalkradio.com or .us and click the Event Tickets tab on the menu.
Karvelis watching. It's been the question for a couple of weeks now. Just to recap what we've done on this show, on August the 19th, I gave you my movie review of Alita Battle Angels, a no spoilers edition. On August 26th, last Tuesday, I gave you my no spoilers review of Sketch. Two movies which many of you may not have seen yet. And now another one from 2025, just like Sketch was. This movie that I'm going to talk about today and review, also with no spoilers, is going to be Elio. Like, what is Elio? Don't worry, folks. I've got you covered. Thank you so much for tuning in to this first ever live edition of What is Michael Karvelis Watching? I am, of course, live on North American Talk Radio via Streama, radio.net, and our website, natalkradio.com or .us. And I do have that website open in case you want to chime in live. Again, for the first time in 3 episodes, I'm having that at your disposal. So, much like the first 2 episodes, this will be a 30-ish minutes episode. I may have to go for a little bit longer, but shouldn't be but like a minute over just in case. I know the last show went about a minute over. I was like, that wasn't even live, but who cares? If you're listening to this on the replay, you won't care about that regardless, so let's jump right into it. Elio, as I mentioned before, is a movie made by Pixar. Or as many people might allude to, they're another last-ditch effort for them to become relevant again, or just to make money. Because the obvious theme of Pixar right now is they've run out of ideas. Every movie they make recently has just been not as good. And if we're being honest, and if I'm being honest, yeah, I see your points. Maybe it was because kids back then, like kids that were born in the 90s and early 2000s, maybe they appreciate those movies more. And now as YouTube and TikTok has become a big thing, they don't need them as much as they used to. Not saying a kid like me ever needed Pixar, but I can kind of see the drop-off and why Pixar is not as popular, even though the name still holds a lot of weight. And again, unlike my sports podcasts and talk shows, This one is more relaxed. It's just me breaking down a movie. And again, this is a no spoilers edition when I review this movie. I do think a lot of you will appreciate, as I did, the voice of Brad Garrett being in another movie. Brad Garrett plays Lord Grygon in this movie. And in Brad Garrett, if you don't recognize that name, it's Robert from Everybody Loves Raymond. And I always forget this, but Robert, or should I say Brad Garrett, has been in other Pixar movies. He was in Finding Nemo. He was in Ratatouille. He was in the original A Bug's Life, like the one that they first made back in 1998. Brad Garrett is not just a sitcom star, but a very well-known voice in the Pixar community, even if you may not recognize him at first. But I will say, Lord Grygon is a pretty massive character in this movie. And we'll get more on him and his son later on, probably in part 2 of this review. So not only does Elio bring the whole star power to this, with Brad Garrett being the big one, I also think this brought a unique story. And I know some critics, as movie critics seem to do, as if they're paid off to do so, they were kind of, harping on the story that this is. But I thought the synopsis of this and the advertising behind it was very smart, was very unique. I remember when I saw previews for this movie, the live-action Lilo and Stitch had just been put out and had done very well in theaters. I think the numbers behind that are very impressive. And so naturally, Pixar/Disney was going to piggyback off of that, because the synopsis of this movie, and then we'll get to why it relates to Lilo and Stitch, Elio, an underdog with an active imagination, finds himself inadvertently beamed up to the Communiverse, an interplanetary organization with representatives from galaxies far and wide. Mistakenly identified as Earth's ambassador to the rest of the universe, he starts to form new bonds with eccentric aliens while discovering who he's truly meant to be. I will, again, not get into spoilers, but I will later on in this episode kind of break those things down a little bit. And I just want it to be known once again, or maybe if I haven't so far, this movie is very, very good. It's also emotional. And I'll tease this because the tearjerker that I was expecting was what is pretty much unveiled in their teasers and previews, especially on Instagram under the Pixar name. They were teasing this as a little boy who seemed to have just some behavioral issues, and part of that might have been because his mother and father died. We don't know how, and I will say, I don't think this is a spoiler. They don't unveil that in the movie, how they died. I don't think they did. But it was like you knew coming in, it was supposed to be a good feel, like a good heartstring story. As every good Pixar movie is supposed to, like the ones that are great, Pixar pulls at your strings. Your heart is like, whoa. And someone told me recently I cry a lot. On the contrary, I hold back. And full disclosure, and full spoiler for me, I did not cry in this movie. But I was darn near close, as I'll get to later on. And again, Elio, I love the advertising of this movie, not just the teasers they did showing you as a heartstrings movie. They also said, like, use the alien thing, because Elio goes to the alien, this thing called the Communiverse, or however you pronounce, I don't know why I'm having trouble pronouncing that. He goes to the Communiverse with a bunch of aliens, like Stitch is an alien, so like, they were kind of like piggybacking. I like that. I think that was smart by Pixar, and it was smart by the producers / whoever was involved in that decision-making process. When I come back, though, we do have to have a reality check about Elio. I will break down the tearjerker I was not expecting, again with no spoilers. I'll also talk about the reviews and the people I talked to about the movie. and how disappointed I still am in just Pixar's state of affairs right now in life. We'll be right back to What is Michael Karvelis watching live on North American Talk Radio. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Want tickets for less while helping grassroots radio? Well, at North American Talk Radio, we've partnered with a top ticketing platform to give our listeners the best prices to all the best events. Whether it's a concert, theater performance, or a sporting event, North American Talk Radio has you covered. Go to natalkradio.com or .us and click the Event Tickets tab on the menu. That's natalkradio.com or .us and click the Event Tickets tab on the menu. Watch all your favorite events in person. That's natalkradio.com or .us and click the Event Tickets tab on the menu.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
North American Talk Radio. What is Michael Karvelis watching? I, of course, am your host, Michael Karvelis, thanking you for joining me here on North American Talk Radio via natalkradio.com or .us. And I do ask you, if you do enjoy the content and you want to chime in, or you don't enjoy the content, want to chime in anyways, create a free account on natalkradio.com or .us and join the chat. Let me or any other show host know your thoughts on what they're talking about or what you might want them to talk about, unless, of course, it's me giving spoilers to this movie, Elio, which, of course, for this episode, I will not do. So again, we are breaking down Elio, a movie made by Pixar that came out this year. It stars Brad Garrett, among other voices I don't think I've heard before. Elio is, of course, an underdog. They say what a weird way to put that. He's got an active imagination and gets beamed up to the community universe. It says inadvertently, and as you can tell from the previews, he wanted to do it. Like, he wanted to be beamed up. So this is not inadvertently. This is basically on purpose, where he finds an interplanetary organization with representatives from galaxies far and wide. They mistake Elio for Earth's ambassador. He starts to form bonds with eccentric aliens. All right, so now I want to fast forward through the movie, if I may. I want you guys to think about the Pixar movies that you hold dear to your hearts. I mentioned that Brad Garrett was in Finding Nemo, Ratatouille, and the original Pixar movie, A Bug's Life. Now, I think that right there is a hit list by itself. Like, that is good stuff. That is good, that's like, what is the word? It's a good resume. It's also like certified bangers by Pixar. Now, personally, I think Toy Story, legendary. Incredibles, legendary. Like I said, Ratatouille, legendary. Cars, legendary. And all those are not just legendary movies, they're great ideas. So this one, and it kind of bugged me as a fan of this movie, where I was like, you know what? A fan of Pixar. As I've gotten older, and I know every person who like hits the 30 and 40 and 50 years old and 60 years old, God forbid, range, is like, you know, back when I was a kid, we had this, and this, and you just get more nostalgic. And it seems to me Pixar should stand the test of time. But as I mentioned before, You've got things like TikTok and YouTube that have kind of put a wrench in that whole thing. Even though I do think if people watch the movies 50 years from now, they will still enjoy the ones that I mentioned. But when you think about the Pixar movies that you love, as I'm sure we all have at least one, I don't care who you are, male or female, old or young, you have a secret little thing for Ratatouille or Toy Story or Cars. There's something inside you. Like my mom loves The Incredibles, okay? Swears by The Incredibles. That's fine. But think about how many times you've watched those movies in your life. Again, the one or two Pixar movies, you're like, man, I've watched this 10 more times. I watched this 100 times. I'll watch it 10 more. I'll watch it until the day I die. My take on Elio after seeing it, without giving my full rating, was it was not my favorite Pixar movie ever. It was not tier 1 Pixar. But if I am sitting there one day, I'm like, do I want to watch Toy Story or any of these movies? I probably have seen them all a bunch of times. Yeah, I'll turn on Elio for a second time. Like, if this movie is good enough to watch again. Oh, Up is another one that were like people love and have a soft spot for. But Elio is a movie where after you've seen those, it's not going to be as iconic because, I'll put it this way. I'll wrap this all up in the bow of what I'm talking about. So many of my friends, I just asked them, I asked them did they want to go see the movie Elio. Unfortunately, so many of them would just say things like, what are you talking about? Or, Pixar, is it going to be any good? So it's like, people have already soured on the movie. But I'll put it this way. I told you guys before, and I'll do this every episode, I'm going to give you the Rotten Tomatoes reviews, both from critics and fans of this movie, okay? And I think you'll be surprised. Critics, and those people can be notoriously evil, 83% positive reviews. Okay, not bad, pretty good. Fans, people like you and me in the common public, who don't get paid to write these reviews, 90% positive. That's what I'm talking about. And again, doing a no spoilers edition of Elio, because I don't feel like I need to give spoilers for a Pixar movie anyways. But I don't think you're going to care if I did or did not. I'm choosing not to. But I'll tell you the movie is very funny. There's especially a scene late in the movie where I was not, I don't think anyone in the theater was expecting it. And I was like, oh my, like that was, it's such an original joke that kind of comes at you in like a powerful moment of the movie. I was like, whoa, that was a wild joke they just made. And again, I'm not going to say what it was, but it was like, okay, that was the hard laugh. That was the one time in a Pixar movie, because every Pixar movie has at least one of them. You're like, man, that was super funny. Even as an adult, you're like, that's really funny. And sometimes as an adult, you appreciate them more. But it was funny, as I mentioned before, it was a tearjerker. Now, I did say they teased it as a little boy who lost his parents. To me, that was not even the most emotional part. I was thinking the whole movie we would have some parent references, and we kind of did in a way, but I was not expecting that to be the most powerful part of this movie. The ending of this movie, much like Sketch did, where like you're not expecting, like you hear things about the movie, like for Sketch that I talked about last week. Sketch was very, like, you know, it was very fun, but the teasers and previews are kind of like, you heard the story of the little girl who was drawing these terrible monsters that came to life. You knew that would have some emotional pull, you just didn't know how much. Then Elio, which I saw before Sketch, ironically, but I saw Elio and I knew the parent stuff was coming, but it did not prepare me for the end of this movie. And I gotta give Pixar credit for that. I gotta give them credits for not doing something that was expected in the previews, because that can make a movie kind of boring. Just like when you see a spoiler before a movie, and some of you might be into that kind of thing. I'm not weird like you, but I will say that you have to admit you don't feel the emotion you probably would have if you just waited and saw it for yourself for the first time. Like, I saw Interstellar last year for the first time ever, and that was on the 10-year anniversary of the movie. And full disclosure, I'm going to have a movie review on that, probably with spoilers. I just wasn't expecting the ending of that movie. I'm not saying Elio or Sketch even combined were as powerful as Interstellar, but dang it, in its own little way, it hits so hard. The small little thing I'll say, it does involve Elio and some alien friends. And you might have heard them mentioned on this podcast or others. I'll just say it was a very cool moment and something where you're like, man, that's awesome. Like I said, it was funny, a tearjerker in more ways than one, which I think makes good Pixar movies. If your Pixar movies, granted, The Incredibles is like the one now I think about it off the top of my head, because when you do a Pixar movie review, you kind of have to mention other Pixar movies. Like, The Incredibles was one I didn't really need. I don't really remember an emotional feel. Like, Ratatouille, I know a lot of you haven't seen that one, but mute your radio for like 10 seconds here. Ratatouille ends with like the mean critic like coming to realize the food was good, and that even though the rat made it, it was amazing, the best thing he had since he was a little boy in some weird country he's from. Okay, now that you're probably back from your muting session, if you did, or if you care to do that, it was like, oh, that's a powerful moment. Like, that was cool. That was something that was unique. You weren't expecting, but it came through the movie. Heck, even Toy Story. I know most of us saw the first two. It was like getting back to Andy was the fun part. And most of you saw Toy Story 3, so I feel like I can say that openly. I say stuff like this because I feel like people have not seen certain movies and I don't want to spoil it for them. But Toy Story 3, it's like, in the end, Andy is giving away the toys. Like, that hurts. That hurts almost as bad as the toys holding hands. Because as a kid, you might have grown up with this stuff, or you may have remembered these movies from years ago. It's like, it pulls at you. So the best Pixar, Up, the movie Up, full disclosure, and spoiler alert, the beginning of Up, the wife dies. Like, that's a hard thing to look at. Well, not look at, we'll see her corpse, but that's a powerful moment that Pixar's good at. And I thought Elio checked the boxes. It was a colorful movie. It was a fun movie. It was funny in certain parts, including really funny in one part. And not just one, but multiple powerful moments that I think were pulling at the heartstrings there. When we come back, though, I do have a little wrinkle I'm going to have to throw in it. And I'll rate it out of 10 coming up when we conclude on this edition of What is Michael Karvelis Watching? Don't go anywhere, folks. North American Talk Radio.
Are you ready to place bets? Join MyBookie today and discover exciting opportunities. North American Talk Radio has partnered with the cutting-edge gambling platform to offer unique bets, several ways to play and win, and you can even use crypto to play. MyBookie offers a seamless platform for all your gambling needs, and MyBookie has you covered with a vast array of options. Explore their different markets and bet types. There's something for everyone. Discover MyBookie's special introductory offer by using North American Talk Radio's special promo code, which is 120Z Sports, all caps, no spaces, and you'll get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. MyBookie offers a thrilling experience, so sign up today and be sure to use the promo code 120Z Sports, all caps, no spaces, for huge cash bonuses. Get in the game and good luck.
Want tickets for less while helping grassroots radio? Well, at North American Talk Radio, we've partnered with a top ticketing platform to give our listeners the best prices to all the best events. Whether it's a concert, theater performance, or a sporting event, North American Talk Radio has you covered. Go to natalkradio.com or .us and click the Event Tickets tab on the menu. That's natalkradio.com or .us and click the Event Tickets tab on the menu. Watch all your favorite events in person. That's natalkradio.com or .us and click the Event Tickets tab on the menu.
I watched Elio, and I'll unapologetically say that I saw this movie in theaters. So I'll say it right now that I liked this movie. Now, the better thing that I'll talk about now, and the more important subject for my take, is where does it rank? I do want to say, before I get to that part, because I'm running out of time here, Elio, and again, this is not a spoiler, but I think, yes, an end credits scene, and I'm not going to say what happens. I would like to say to the creator, to the people at Pixar, please don't make a second one. I feel like this movie can stand the test of time. I don't think we need to milk it. I think the fact they put something at the end of the credits anyways was a bit jumping the gun. Maybe they trusted their people. Maybe they trusted stuff. They trusted the fans and the marketing too much. I don't like it though. It was good. The story left enough where it's like you feel good about it. I could be wrong. If there is a second one, it could be very good. But I don't like the idea right now. It was bad enough getting my own friends to go see this stinging thing. Why would you want to make another movie? Like, stop it, guys. Come on now. I think they should have opened that. They should have let that open for discussion, but to add an end credit scene was a little bit too much for me. That being said, I rate it and I do 0.5, or I do like full numbers, and like I do like 8.5 or 7.5 or 6.5 or 6 or whatever it is. I gave this movie, I told you before, it's not a tier 1 Pixar movie. I gave it an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. Seems a bit high, but I enjoyed the movie. It pressed the right Pixar buttons. It was good enough for me. I think Elio is worth the watch. I don't think you have to watch it. I don't think I wouldn't go brag to people about how great it was. But if they ask me, did I like it, and when I watch it again, yeah, I'll watch it again. But again, it wasn't like anything where it was like I had to see it again, or I had to see it for the first time. I just wanted to watch it, and I was impressed. So that's my take on Elio. Again, it's kind of hard to do no spoilers type reviews in these movie talks, but I will say my next planned thing is next September 9th, so next Tuesday at 4 o'clock Eastern. It may be pre-recorded, but I could do it live. We'll have to see. I'm going to do a spoilers edition. I will do a spoilers edition this time of Superman 2025, the one that came out this year. And full disclosure, I loved it. That being said, you guys have a great rest of your day. This has been What is Michael Karvelis Watching? Thank you for tuning in. Do be sure to follow us at NA Talk Radio on Instagram or Twitter, and follow this show, MSIF_TV. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. And Beck's Banner is coming up at 7 o'clock Eastern for those of you that are live listening. Thanks again. Bye.